Did you know that 75% of people fear public speaking more than death? That's right. Many would rather face a hungry lion than give a speech. Yet, speaking is a crucial skill in our daily lives. Whether it's sharing ideas in a meeting or giving a toast at a wedding, we all need to communicate effectively. Here's another shocking fact. Studies show that audiences forget up to 90% of what a speaker says within just 48 hours. That's a staggering number. So, how do you make your words stick and capture attention? You don't have to raise your voice to be heard. In fact, shouting can push people away. In this guide, we'll explore how to command attention without ever raising your volume. You'll learn powerful techniques like mastering vocal contrast, using strategic pauses, and storytelling to draw people in. We'll also cover body language, energy transfer, and visual hooks that will make your message unforgettable. Get ready to discover the secrets of great speakers. By the end of this series, you'll have the tools you need to captivate your audience and deliver your message with confidence, without shouting. Chapter 1: The Power of a Whisper. Mastering vocal contrast. Loud doesn't always mean powerful. In fact, sometimes the most captivating thing you can do is lower your voice. The key here is vocal contrast, using changes in your tone and volume to keep people listening. According to a study published in the Journal of Voice, speakers who vary their vocal pitch and intensity hold attention better than those who maintain a flat tone throughout their presentation. Think of your voice as a musical instrument. If you hit the same note over and over, it gets dull. But when you mix things up with highs and lows, people stay engaged. One great example is former US President Barack Obama. In his speeches, he often drops his voice to a near whisper to emphasize key points, making people lean in to catch every word. It's incredibly effective. Try this. Next time you're giving a presentation or leading a meeting, don't start at full volume. Begin with a conversational tone, and when you want to emphasize a critical point, drop your voice slightly. This technique creates a moment of tension that draws your audience closer, making them feel like they're part of something exclusive. Chapter 2: The Pause Effect. How silence speaks louder than words. Silence can be uncomfortable, but it's also one of the most powerful tools in a speaker's arsenal. Research from Harvard Business Review shows that strategic pauses can increase a speaker's perceived authority. A well-timed pause gives the audience time to digest what you've said and signals that you've made a significant point. Think of it as the verbal equivalent of bolding a sentence in a book. When used correctly, silence can build anticipation. It's like the quiet moment before a climax in a movie. It keeps your audience on the edge of their seats. A famous example of this is Steve Jobs. In his presentations, Jobs was known to pause, sometimes for several seconds, before revealing a new product. That silence created suspense and heightened the excitement when he finally unveiled the next big thing. Practice using silence by pausing after key statements. It might feel awkward at first, but you'll notice how the energy in the room changes. Pauses force your audience to reflect and prepare for what's coming next. And here's the trick: don't rush to fill the silence. Trust that your pause is doing the work for you. Chapter 3: Storytelling Sorcery. Transform data into drama. Here's a fact: 63% of people remember stories better than they do statistics, according to research by Stanford University. The human brain is wired for stories. It's how we make sense of the world and connect emotionally. So, even if you're delivering dry information, like sales figures or quarterly reports, you can still make it engaging by weaving it into a narrative. Take a cue from TED Talks. One of the most shared talks, by Brené Brown, opens with a personal story, even though the bulk of her presentation is about vulnerability research. Brown's narrative hook instantly makes her data more relatable. It's not just facts, it's a journey the audience can follow. If you have to share data, don't just dump the numbers. Instead, frame them with a story. For example, if you're discussing a spike in sales, you could tell the story of how a small shift in strategy led to this change, starting from a challenge and building up to the success. It's about turning the numbers into something that feels real and impactful. Even in business settings, stories win over facts alone. Author Chip Heath, in his book Made to Stick, says, "A story is more likely to be remembered, retold, and acted on." So, next time you're faced with a list of statistics, think about how you can transform them into a story that will stick with your audience. If you're finding these tips helpful, be sure to subscribe for more insights on effective communication and public speaking. Chapter 4: Command the Room. The Science of Strategic Body Language. Did you know that 55% of communication is nonverbal? According to a study by Albert Mehrabian, your body language is more important than the words you say when it comes to engaging your audience. It's not enough to stand still and talk, your body should reinforce your message. One key tip is to make your gestures purposeful. Open, confident movements suggest you're in control, while fidgeting or crossing your arms sends the message that you're insecure. Think of it like this: when you open your arms, you're inviting your audience in. On the other hand, when you keep your arms close to your body, you're shutting them out. Another important aspect of body language is eye contact. Maintaining eye contact with different people in the room makes them feel seen and included. In a Harvard Business School study, speakers who maintained steady eye contact were perceived as more confident and credible. But don't overdo it. Too much eye contact can feel intense. The trick is to rotate your gaze naturally around the room, as if you're having individual conversations with each person. Standing still for too long can also cause you to lose your audience. Move with intention. If you're pacing constantly, it's distracting. But if you walk across the stage during key moments, it can emphasize your points and add dynamism to your speech. Think of speakers like Tony Robbins, who use movement as a tool to drive engagement. Chapter 5: Energy Transfer. Amplify your passion, not your volume. Energy is contagious. When you're passionate about your topic, your audience can feel it. A study from the University of Michigan found that speakers who express genuine enthusiasm can influence audience emotions, making them more receptive to the message. But here's the key: it's not about volume, it's about vocal energy and how you project it. Passion can be expressed through tone, pace, and enthusiasm. If you're excited about what you're saying, let that excitement come through naturally in your voice. However, it's important not to rush. Even if you're passionate, a speech that's too fast can overwhelm your listeners. Instead, use your energy to add life to your words without speeding through them. One famous example of a passionate speaker is Oprah Winfrey. She rarely raises her voice, but her energy and enthusiasm are unmistakable. In her Golden Globe speech, Oprah's passion was clear not just in her words, but in her tone, gestures, and facial expressions. She projected so much energy without needing to shout, and the result was a standing ovation. You can replicate this by connecting deeply with your message. Find the parts of your speech that ignite your passion and focus on transferring that energy to your audience. Remember, people are more likely to be moved by a speaker who believes in what they're saying, rather than someone who's just delivering information. Chapter 6: Visual Hooks. How to make your words picture perfect. Humans are visual creatures. We process images 60,000 times faster than text, according to research by 3M Corporation. This means that if you can help your audience see what you're saying, they're more likely to stay engaged and remember your message. One way to do this is through visual language, using descriptive words that create mental pictures. Instead of saying, "Our sales grew last quarter," try painting a picture: "Our sales skyrocketed, breaking through every target we set." The word skyrocketed creates a visual image that's more powerful than just stating a fact. Metaphors and similes are another great way to paint pictures with words. For example, when explaining a complicated concept, you might say, "It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack." This instantly helps your audience visualize the challenge you're describing. A great speaker who does this is Simon Sinek, author of Start With Why. In his talks, Sinek often uses vivid imagery to explain abstract ideas. For instance, he might compare a company's mission to a lighthouse guiding a ship through rough waters. That image sticks in people's minds and makes the concept easier to understand. Lastly, consider adding real visuals if it fits your format. People remember 80% of what they see, according to a study from Social Science Research Network. So, using a simple graphic or image during a presentation can make a lasting impression. Just be careful not to overwhelm your audience with too much visual noise, keep it clean and relevant. If you enjoyed these insights, don't forget to subscribe for more tips on mastering the art of communication.